That's a hard question. As I alluded to earlier, the biggest challenge we face, particularly for my style of company and the product that we produce, is land development. My biggest fear is not having land. And at a national level, and I'm involved obviously at the state and the national level, and the NHB and the Wisconsin Builders Association, there's a lot of focus on density, smaller lots, cost, keeping costs down. We're not that builder. We're looking for larger lots, and that's what our customers are demanding. So the future of my business is really going to be.
Hello, my name's Paul Seitz. I'm with R&R Insurance in Waukesha, Wisconsin. Welcome to Land Development Focus. With me today is the owner and founder of Victory Homes, John Stoker. Welcome, John.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So Victory Homes is what, now 20 years old?
23. Coming up on 25. That's a kind of a big landmark from my perspective, 25 years, so I'm looking forward to it.
And actually, I understand it's part of the Victory companies.
Correct.
We have Victory Homes, Allen Builders, a very well-branded name in our market, and Victory Renovations. So go back to the beginning. How did this start?
All right, I'll make a very long story short. Back when I was just out of college, I was hoping to be a commercial pilot. And it just so happened that the market was terrible in the early 90s when I was getting ready to go into that career. And my wife and I started building. We built a couple homes, we built a condo, and we really liked it. We just kind of fell in love with the whole, the whole process of building. And even though I had a day job, I started moonlighting. I had an opportunity to sell for Allen Builders back in the day. And I just fell in love with it. It seemed like an easy thing for me to do. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed it. I think it was partly because of my passion. I really enjoyed the building process. So ultimately, I went from being a salesperson to a sales manager for Allen Builders to actually purchasing Victory Homes from another individual, and then years later, ultimately purchasing Allen Builders, where it all started for me.
Well, you're flying higher than ever now.
Well, that's a good way of looking at it.
You have a couple of owner partners, Dave Remke and Phil Morgan. What role do they play on your team?
Yeah, so clearly there's three owners, and I can tell you with 100% certainty I couldn't do it without them. Phil is he's got a systems background. He is my vice president of the company, and he largely has put all the systems and processes in place that enable us to do what we do. And we're kind of a unique builder in that we do, some people would call us a production builder, but we really are a custom home builder. We just do a larger number of homes than most custom builders.
Well, what would be the largest home you've built approximately?
Like from a square footage, 13,500 square feet.
Very good size.
Quite a few of them over 10,000. It's crazy how many people are building large homes. But
yeah.
So Phil really runs the company, the day-to-day operations, the hiring. He's my IT person. And then Dave Remke is my other business partner, and Dave is my VP of sales. And a company like ours doesn't run, we're a machine. We need sales. So Dave oversees a sales manager, and we have 20, I think, of the best independent sales professionals there are in southeastern Wisconsin between Milwaukee and Madison. So he oversees that, but even more than overseeing them, he's integral in helping me find land or in determining where we're going to place models and things like that to really run our business. Our models are advertising, and so Dave's very involved in that whole piece of the business as well.
As I understand it, up until a few years ago, you were purely a builder, but now you have developed some what people refer to as boutique subdivisions. Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, I think to kind of really put it in perspective is to kind of have a little history. When I started the company 23 years ago, we had land developers that go out and develop large subdivisions, and our customers would come to us and say, hey, we have a lot in Taylor's Woods and we want you to build a home. And that was the way it was for the first 3, 4, 5 years. There were a bunch of what I call now legacy developers that really don't exist anymore. I think a lot of that changed when the Great Recession hit in 2007 and 8. We lost a lot of those legacy developers. So then what happened is you had some developers still developing land, and some other builders started developing land, and we would go and buy what I call bulk purchases. We would go buy 5 or 10 lots in a subdivision that we thought was going to be a good subdivision, because we needed places for our customers to go. And from really about 2010 or 2011 on, land is really the biggest challenge we have in this business. So leap ahead a few more years, and we started realizing that there just isn't enough land. The kind of the industry is to go for smaller, higher density lots, and that helps control costs. But the reality is our product and our customers don't want to be on quarter-acre lots. We want half, three-quarter-acre, 1 acre, 5 acre lots. And there are no developers in this marketplace developing that. So we decided we're going to have to become a developer, and I'm not a developer. So what we've done is we've gone out, and it's really a primary function that I do for the business now is I'm always looking for land. When I find a piece of land, I have at my access, we have 2 or 3 really, really, really good people that have been in the industry a long time that I actually hire to develop the land for me. So if I've got a great parcel and I want to move forward with it, I'll go to one of these individuals and say, hey, take me through, all the
mountain of approval.
The approval process, I keep wanting to say underwriting. It's not underwriting, but what's the technical term?
Hoops.
We'll call it hoops. But anyway, they'll take you through all the municipality meetings and all those types of things. But as importantly, 2 of the 3 individuals that I hire are engineers, so they understand the engineering behind subdivisions, the grading. Those are things that I really don't know. I can get a vibe that I like the subdivision, I like the location, and I think there's a market there. But taking it from a piece of land and getting it to a developed piece of land that we can actually sell to our customers is what I hire those people for. And we really have focused on small boutique subdivisions, primarily 5 to 10 lot subdivisions. We recently did a 19 lot subdivision out in the village of Summit. We have a 37 lot subdivision, which was kind of pushing my comfort zone in Mequon, that was a little larger than I really wanted to do. But it is now an integral part of our business. At this point in our company's history, we are putting 50% of all of our sales go on the lots that we own. So that's a big number. So I need to feed our machine. When you have 20 salespeople that are out there selling, they need a place to put their customers. So that's how we ended up in land development. It was not by choice. We were kind of forced into it. I hope and dream the day comes back where we have some of our legacy land developers that will start developing land again. We just had recently JBJ did a really nice subdivision up in the village of Richfield, and we kind of went back to the old ways. We went in and bought maybe 5 lots in phase 1 and 5 lots in phase 2, but I didn't have to develop that land, and it was kind of a nice, it was refreshing to go back to the old times, if you will.
You not only have quite a team within your company, but you work with a lot of outside entities, of course, all your subcontractors, but it goes beyond that to the engineers that you mentioned. I would imagine, your involvement in the Metropolitan Builders Association has introduced you to many of these people, has it not?
Yeah. So I could talk for 2 hours about the Metropolitan Builders Association. It's done a ton for my business, and people kind of look at me strangely when I say that, but it's done a lot for my business, but it's also done a lot for me personally. Kind of hit on a couple of the points from the business standpoint. When I first got into this business, I needed the Metropolitan Builders Association. I needed their contracts. I needed their mediation and arbitration protection, which are things that, honestly, we still use to this day. That's an important part of my business. I don't have to pay to have my contracts redone. I use their contracts, and the mediation and arbitration is invaluable. Of course, other things that help my business from the MBA, clearly advocacy. If there's a local issue, if we're developing something and I've got a problem with the municipality, I can go to them. They'll help me work out any issues we have. Pardon me. So they're extremely helpful from the business side. But I think for me personally, the MBA has been way more important from a personal growth, if you will, I can comfortably say that 90% of what I've learned in this industry has come through the MBA in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's direct training, seminars. I sat as a mediator and arbitrator for 10 years. I probably learned more as being a mediator than you could in any book. You learn what not to do. And so that was a huge experience for me. But more importantly is, if I have a question or a problem that I've never run into or something I can't solve, I go to the MBA. Who can help me? And there's always someone at the MBA. There's always a fellow MBA member that can help me out. I've never been stumped. So it's an awesome resource from a builder and even personally. But honestly, the best part of the MBA is I've got lifelong friends now from the MBA. I have friends that would have never met had it not been for the MBA. We travel together. We'll go to Mexico. We do things. We socialize. So it's been a huge part of my business and my personal growth.
For the benefit of our viewers, for the record, the Metropolitan Builders Association, based in Milwaukee, was the first home builders association in Wisconsin to develop the contract that you mentioned, being the contract between you and your customer. It also has model subcontract agreements between you and your subcontractors, a renovation agreement. Those agreements are revised every 4, 5, 6 years with a team of volunteers comprised primarily of attorneys. So it keeps up with today's law, if you will. And most of the builders in this market use that document. The courts are familiar with it. The legal professions familiar with it. And it's a very workable, practical document that is good for all parties involved.
I can't agree more. In addition to the contracts that you mentioned, it also sets industry standards by which we uphold. We want to build to industry standards or better. And it also is our warranty. We use the Metropolitan Builders Association industry standards as our warranty. When we provide the homeowner a warranty, it is their warranty. It's based on their industry standards. So those are all things that if I didn't have the MBA are costs and headaches that I'd have to go through. And honestly, because of changing times, they do need to be updated every few years. And having the MBA do that is a huge asset.
You are also quite active in the Madison, Wisconsin home building market, a different market. I know that this year Victory Homes is building a home for St. Jude's Children's Hospital.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
So yeah, Madison, you touched on a little bit different market, even though it's only 90 miles away. It's been a growing market for us, a great opportunity for us. We were fortunate enough 2 years ago to be nominated to build the first St. Jude house in the state of Wisconsin. And honestly, when I was approached about it, I didn't know much about it. Of course, I'd seen St. Jude commercials my whole life. Everyone knows the St. Jude
Danny
commercials.
Thomas.
Yep,
right?
of course. Yeah. But as I learned more and more about it, it took me about 30 seconds to decide that I wanted to be involved. And when I made that decision, I didn't know at the time that that's a decision I made that I will do a St. Jude house every single year as long as I'm building homes. Mm-hmm. It is a permanent decision. As long as they'll have me as a builder, I'm going to continue doing it. We essentially build a home at no cost. Our subcontractors, they donate their time and material. Many of them 100% of the material costs and the time costs. We had our primary supplier donated every single dollar that went into that house. And we build the house and we ultimately sell it, and all the proceeds from that home go to St. Jude. The first home we did, which was a little over a year ago, I believe we wrote a check to St. Jude for about $900,000. We just completed this year's St. Jude home. It's now for sale. If all goes well, we'll contribute another, our goal is to hit $1 million. We want to write $1 million check to St. Jude. It is the most, and I've had the pleasure, I say pleasure, I've had the experience of going down and touring the St. Jude Hospital and being there. And I say pleasure because the people are just unbelievable. It's a wonderful organization. Everything about it, everything, the doctors, everything they do, it's just, I get goosebumps thinking about it. But when you walk through that hospital and you see these children, it becomes I have no regrets, and that's why I said I will do this. If I'm building 20 years from now, I will be building a St. Jude house because I won't stop. There's a really interesting story of a gentleman that started doing St. Jude homes maybe 30 years ago, retired. He had no intention of continuing to do St. Jude homes. His subcontractors and his vendors said, well, what do you mean? We want to do it anyway. So he builds one home a year in retirement for St. Jude, and he's done, I believe, 30 or 32 of them. That quite possibly would be something I would do. It's such a wonderful organization.
It's hard to think of a more worthy cause than sick children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I believe, as I've seen on their commercials, if you take your child there, you don't pay for transportation, medical, food, or housing.
Nope. It is an all-inclusive. They take care of you. And I mean, I'm probably not the best person to advocate, but I've listened to the families. I've been in front of the parents of parents that lost children, and certainly of parents that still have their children because of St. Jude. And it's heartbreaking and it's gut-wrenching, but it is if you ever would have the opportunity to go down and see and tour the campus and go through it, it's like I said, it gives me goosebumps thinking about it. We actually, because we are a St. Jude a builder, we get to bring 3 people. They do a builder conference every year where they bring every builder that's built homes for St. Jude down there, and it's a first class, take you to dinner, but they introduce you to 5 or 10 families, and you hear those family stories, and you walk out of there wanting to see if you can do 2 houses the next year. Yeah, but very frankly, it's not just Victory Homes. It's our suppliers, our tradespeople. They're the ones who make it. They donate their time. They donate the money for the materials for the home. Even the developers, in this case, the 2 that we've done in Madison, Don Tierney, he gave us substantial discounts on those lots, so more money could go back to St. Jude. So.
You alluded to it before. Madison is a different market. It's only 90 miles away. In what way is it different?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that 90 miles away it can be so different. The way builders work there is a little different. When we went to Madison 5 years ago, we thought we could duplicate what we do here. We put up models in subdivisions where we think there's going to be a lot of traffic, and we thought people would come. The builders there don't really do models. They don't have model homes like we do, and most of their business is picked up during their 2 parade of homes. So a builder will put a home up. A lot of times the models that the builders put up are actually customer homes, and they build the home, use it during the parade of homes, and then the homeowners move in, and they pick up their business during the parade of homes, and that's their business for the next year. We're a little different. I want to grow it. I want to kind of make it more like the Milwaukee market. We maintain 2, 3, or 4 models at all times in Madison, and it was a rough go at first. People didn't even understand. If the production builders, there's 2 large production builders in Madison. They do have models, but for most of the other builders, they really don't have model homes. And so we've stuck to our guns for 5 years, and we're starting to get traction that, hey, you don't have to wait till the parade of homes to come look at a home. You can come look at us in January or in March or in September, whenever you want. And but it's been a slow process to kind of get the customer to understand that. They've been so programmed to, well, we're going to go to the parade, we're going to find a house and a builder that we like, and that's what we're going to work. So we're trying to change that trend. We've got a couple other builders from the Milwaukee market that have come into that market now. I think that'll actually help change the market there. So that's the primary difference.
For so many years, to be a builder in Milwaukee, once you had a model, you were a legitimate builder. And what I mean by that is virtually every viable home builder in Milwaukee has a model home. It's how this market, it's how the product is sold. Yeah. And it's so interesting to hear that, even within our own state, that's not the way they do it.
It was a little shocking to us because we really thought we could duplicate what we do here. And like I said, it's been 5 years. We've continued to grow the business. Hopefully 5 or 10 years from now, it will be more similar to this market. But think about it, Paul. You and I aren't spring chickens anymore. We used to spend a lot of our advertising dollars in the Milwaukee Journal, putting little squares where our model homes were, and think of how different times are now.
I don't think we have a home section in the Milwaukee Journal anymore, do we?
Is the Milwaukee Journal even still around? I don't know.
John, What does the future hold for the Victory companies, and where do you think the home building industry is going?
You know, that's a hard question. As I alluded to earlier, the biggest challenge we face, particularly for my style of company and the product that we produce, is land development. My biggest fear is not having land. And at a national level, and I'm involved obviously at the state and the national level, and the NHB and the Wisconsin Builders Association, there's a lot of focus on density, smaller lots, cost, keeping costs down. We're not that builder. We're looking for larger lots, and that's what our customers are demanding. So the future of my business is really going to be dependent on what type of land we can develop and where we can find land, and or if we can get some of our legacy developers that are still around to develop product that will work for our customers. Personally, as crazy as it sounds, I absolutely love this business. Is it hard? Sure, it can be hard. There are challenges. You know, I've lived through the Great Recession, I've lived through 9/11, and I've lived through the pandemic, all three of which are things that, boy, when they happened, I was scared to death. Are we going to be in business 6 months
Nobody
later?
knew they were coming.
Nobody knew they were coming, and you know, here we are, knock on wood, and I think we're a mature enough company now. We're going to survive whatever storm that hits us. But I've got a son involved in the business now. Whether he's going to have the love and passion for it that I do, time will tell. I hope to be doing this for the foreseeable future. I enjoy my time off, but I still have a passion for it.
John, thank you so much for sharing your views with us. You have a fascinating company.
Well, my pleasure. I enjoyed it, and it's always nice seeing and chatting with you.
Maybe we'll do it a few years down the road and see where we're at by then.
I would love it.
Thank you for joining us.